Hey guys, so I kind of just wanted to have a chill video where I sat and talked about things again. I know that I've talked in the past about where I have come from and what I've built myself up from in the past, and so I kind of wanted to elaborate more on my past, I guess, and be a little bit more transparent with you guys. So I guess we'll start with 2013. I graduated high school here or in the area, about 30 minutes south of where I live now. And right after I graduated high school, I started dating a guy. And from what I understood, we hit it off and everything seemed to be going pretty well. In 2015, he proposed to me at the beginning of the year, and by September, we were married. We actually got married in July. And we just kind of went to the courthouse because we were living together. And so we did that, and then we had our big ceremony in September. But, so with all that being said, whenever you get married and you're young, you tend to do a lot of things that isn't very smart. And so we racked up a lot of debt. I had actually, before we got even engaged, I had got my first car loan, and it was on a 2012 Chevy Equinox, and it was unfortunately a lemon. But because of Arkansas state laws and their lemon laws, if you want to claim lemon law, it has to be a brand new car. We took it back to the shop about 3 or 4 times, and it, well, I'll get into that later. So anyway, long story short, so I started my first car loan before we got married, and then we got married, and as we were living together, I was trying to build a home, make it a home, and the guy that I was married to, he worked at nights, and so he was rarely there, and so honestly, I think I was just trying to make myself feel, or keep myself busy, I guess, because we weren't like, whenever we did see each other, it was maybe an hour in passing. Before I either went to school, I had started Cosmetology School in the same year, or right after we had gotten married. And I also, previous to that, for a little while, I worked at a credit union in Fort Smith. But anyway, we would only see each other for like an hour or so, and ideally I really wasn't happy then, but when you're married, you try to make things work. And so with him working at night, I felt really lonely. I won't say I didn't have any friends, because I did. I just did not hang out with them. And so I decided that we were going to be moving back to Greenwood, which is where I'm originally from, in Arkansas. And so luckily the house right behind my mom and dad's house came up for rent, and so we moved in there, and we lived there for I guess about 6 months. And understand, this whole time that we're living together, I am spending money and putting money where it doesn't belong, as far as like I'm racking up credit cards. I mean, in all honesty, I was just, if I wanted it and I had the room for it on a credit card, I got it. We had a pet deposit at the apartment that I lived in originally in Fort Smith, and it was $500, and because I was alone all the time, I thought, well, I'll get a dog. My dog was free. I basically got her from somebody in a low, it was a bad neighborhood is what it was, and I went over there. My mom went with me, and we got Oakley, and I know you've seen her in I think she was in my Christmas video with my family, but anyway, we got Oakley, took her back, and I had bought her like a cage, and some food, obviously some toys, color and all of that. And all of that stuff didn't add up to how much my pet deposit was. It was $500. So I then took out my first big credit card. I had like a Victoria's Secret credit card where I think my limit was like $200 to $300. And I didn't do well with that either. I would forget to make my payment, or I would just think, oh, I'll just pay it with my next check, and next thing you know, I was spending that money on other things and not paying that bill. And so not only am I racking up the bill, I am also accruing a lot of late charges, and hurting my credit. And then I was very lucky that American Express trusted me with their credit card, which they should not have, but they did. And that's where I got the $500 for my pet deposit. Was I got the card, I went to an ATM and got a cash advance of $500, took it, and paid my pet deposit with that. So there's that. And then I decided that I was going to do a multi-level network situation, and I won't get in on all that, but obviously I did not succeed in that. But what I did put on a credit card, and I thought, well, when I make the money, I'll pay it off, and then the extra I get to keep. I never did that. I was very young. I was at this point about 20 years old. So anyway, we moved into this house in Greenwood. And I thought to myself, ideally when we moved in there, we were going to fix it up a little bit. And then eventually unfortunately, the reason why the house came up it was for rent is because the person who lived in it had passed away. He was a good friend of ours. His parents said that my husband and I could live there. And so we moved in, and we were allowed to paint. I painted the bedrooms, credit card, a new credit card. I got another one because Lowe's let me have a credit card. I painted the bedrooms. I made a flower bed that I never kept up with. I put it there and then never did anything else with it. And then anything that I wanted for the house, again, I put on credit cards. So I'm slowly racking up the money. And then that's when we realized that my car is a lemon, right? And so I go, and so all of the credit cards were only in my name. And I won't say that I was the only one racking them up, because I wasn't. He was helping me as well. He was doing it with more like food related items. Like if we went out to eat or something, he'd be like, well, just put it on your card. And then, or if you need to pick this up, just put it on your card. I'll pay you back. Well, he never paid me back. And so luckily his credit wasn't getting hurt. In fact, he had very good credit. Well, we went to my car. The check engine light came on about 3 times. And finally, I took it in, and they said that we could trade it in at a different car lot, and so we did, which put me upside down on another car payment. So my car payment went from, I think it was like $350 up to $464, and then on top of that, I have all these credit card payments, and that was around September of 2016. And in November of 2016, I found out that my husband was cheating on me. So, recap. I'm racking up credit cards. I am now upside down in a car loan, which his name is on as well. And now I am separated, and I have moved back in with my mom and dad. And it felt like I was in a slow crash at this point. For the following year, I started to go through a divorce. And if you've ever been through a divorce, they're not fun. They're not easy. They're very hard on you, and it's a lot of stress. And while I'm doing this, I'm also going through Cosmetology School. I finally finished that at some point, but I was, way in over my head. If it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't have been able to actually get my license. I would have had to pay out the school before I could get it. I really, honestly, looking back at it where I'm at now, I really ruined a lot of things for me. Because had I taken care of my finances in the end, I wouldn't have had to work so hard to clean it up. But we'll get to that later, I guess. Anyway, in 2017, I met another guy that I was working with at the time. And I'm not really going to talk a whole lot about this because it was a really bad situation. He and I dated for a year and a half. In that year and a half, he and I moved in together. And I'll just say that he did not help my financial situation. In my divorce, I was given money to help me pay down my debts because of, when you're married in the state of Arkansas, everything that happens in the marriage is part of the marriage unless you have a prenup set in stone. And we never had one of those. I was 20 years old. I didn't get a prenup. Anyway, so I was given some money to pay down some of the debt. I had to trade in the car that we had just got because his name was on it. And because it was upside down, nobody would refinance. And so, again, I traded in, and now I got the car that I currently still have. It's a 2017 Honda Civic. It's a great car. Not a car that I really wanted to have. It's not my dream car, and it won't be the car that I have forever, but it got me from here to there. It's pretty, and, it's a good car. So, anyway, I was dating this other guy, and I was able to pay off some of my debt, but then, again, he wasn't helping my financial situation, so I put myself into more debt. And in 2019, I found myself not being able to make car payments. And the car loan that I got, because my credit was so bad, I had to get with my mom. And so I was hurting her credit. And my mom finally was like, look, I can help you, but you have to ask for help and you need to start being honest with me. Because I would just tell her, yeah, I made it. Because I didn't want her to worry about me. And she would have, because she's a mom. She's a good mom. But I'm trying not to get emotional. Anyway, so at the end of 2019, the end of 2018. So this was all in 2018, I'm sorry. At the end of 2018, I got out of that relationship. I moved back in with my mom and dad, and I told myself, you're staying here, you're taking care of this debt, you're going to get your life back on track, and I don't care if you have to live with your parents until you're 30, I'm going to have to get it together. I'm an adult. I was doing hair full time when I moved back in with my mom and dad and working at a pizza place in Greenwood to supplement my income because I was still trying to build clientele. That was fine. It paid my bills very well. And when I moved back in with my mom and dad, let me rephrase that. It paid my bills well when I moved back in with my mom and dad. When we lived in the other place, it didn't. And again, I didn't get very much support or help from the other party. So the whole situation with him kind of caused a lot of trauma with me. He was I really don't want to get too far into it, but he was really emotionally and physically not good to me. We were like fire and gasoline, whatever happened, it blew up bigger. It was just not a good place to be in, a good situation to be in. And I thank God every day that I got out of that. In the same year, I actually started going back to church. That's when I got into Life Church. I am sitting on a door thing. That's when I started going back to Life Church, and went into Life Church, and my life started to slowly progress and get better. In the first, I would say, month or 2 months of me being with my mom and dad, I started paying off debt. they had, a lot of my debts from previous times had made it into collections. Deals with them that I could, pay off certain amounts each month, which isn't the greatest. I know that it's better if you just pay it off when you can, but I just didn't have the money to do so. So I slowly started chipping away at my debt as 2019 went on. But 2019, I will say, was probably one of the best years of my life. I made myself a deal that if I would work on my debt and I would, get my life back on track, that I would eventually get to see, I tried to make it to where I got to see like a show a month, a concert a month. Concerts, music, that's my thing. I would much rather listen to music than watch TV or a movie. I could kill just about anyone that named that song. Music is my thing. I'll just stick with that. And so I told myself, kind of almost as a reward, and also because I needed a little self-love. I was really hard on myself. I didn't care about myself like I needed to be honest. And so I started, again, seeing a show every month. And so I started, I'm trying to think, just some people that I saw in 2019. I got to see Parker McCollum twice, Montgomery Gentry, I got to see Chingy, B2K, Mario, the Yin Yang Twins, Chris Young, obviously not all at the same show, Chris Jansen. I got to see the Backstreet Boys, which is my hugest bucket list item. I got to see Nelly, TLC, Flo Rida. I have a list on my phone. I could go all day. And just at different shows each month, or if I couldn't make it to a concert, or if there wasn't one that I really wanted to see that month, I would do something fun instead. Like Savannah, one of my best friends, and I, we would go to baseball games, or because baseball is really fun to go watch. I would go and I'm trying to think. We went to the Midnight Drags in Tulsa once, where we got to go see the drag racing. It was at midnight, obviously. That was so much fun. It was a good year for me to flip and, do a complete 180. 2018, 2017, I thought that my divorce was bad, but those years were so much worse. When I was getting divorced, I told everybody, I wouldn't wish this on anybody. And then when I had the next years, it just got worse. I still have trauma to this day that I don't realize that I have until it shows itself from the things that went on when I was in that relationship. But anyway, I did a 180. I started paying on my debts. I got into the gym, which I didn't lose a whole lot of weight, but I was doing something to make me happy. I had a lot of energy, and it was just a really good year. I re-met Alex. Alex and I actually went to high school together, so we knew who each other were, but we didn't really know each other. And so in May, we started hanging out, and by 2020, we were engaged and now married. But, I re-met Alex, and we built our relationship during those times, and I was still going to shows and, slowly paying off debt. The first thing that I bought myself in 2019 was this Apple Watch. I was so proud of it. I still am so proud of it. There's rarely a week where I don't wear it, almost every day, unless something's wrong or if we're in quarantine. But anyway, I guess I'm just rambling a lot, but I'm trying to build up to show you where I have come from, to know where I am, I guess, now. I've hit rock bottom. I have trauma still. I have bad memories. I gained a lot of weight. I know that in a previous video I showed you that when I was in high school, I was an itty bitty tiny little thing. I'll put in a picture here in a second. But whenever I was married, I gained a lot of weight back. Or when we were dating before we were married the first time, with the first guy. But I gained a lot of weight. Then I went through a divorce. That doesn't help your mental health. And so I really let myself go, and then I started dating this other guy, and I slowly got worse, and at the end of that, I really let myself go, and that's why I decided to do the whole Weight Watchers thing when, you know, I decided this year I was going to go all in. But anyway, 2020 was a whole bad year again, though, because we were all stuck in the house, and the pandemic was going on, and, you know, it's just hard. A lot of bad things, it felt like, happened, and a lot of good things happened, too. Don't get me wrong. I got married, and Alex and I were able to get into this duplex together, and I saw my credit go in 2019, I think, or 2018, I think. The lowest my credit score was in like the 400s, and that was really hard to see. But through 2019, it slowly got higher to the 500s. To 2020, I slowly built up to the 600s, and then I think the last time I checked was just the other day. Whenever we refinanced one of our cars, and so they sent us our credit score, and mine was actually above 650. And while that's not the best credit score in the world, I can't tell you the last time my credit has been this good. And so I guess I'm making this also as a warning to those who are young and ready to start building credit and start building a life and everything. Don't take everything so fast. Slow down. Don't use credit cards unless you have to. Use them to build credit safely, but don't get so swallowed up in it that you can't get out without help or filing bankruptcy. I'm so thankful to God that I never had to do that. But anyway, I guess this is kind of just like my story after high school, because I mean, when I was younger, I had a great life, thankfully. You know, my high school days were great. I worked at the same pizza place that I worked at again. And I loved my job, and I got to go to Hawaii and all kinds of stuff. But whenever I was put out on my own, I was hit with a big culture shock. So it was, honestly, it's more shelter shock. I didn't have all those things. I tried them to an extreme where I put myself in a hole that I've had to slowly dig myself out of. But where I'm at today makes everything that I went through worth it. I'm married to my best friend. I have a great relationship with my parents, which I could not have living with them. I have a great relationship with my parents. Trying really not to get emotional. While this place is small, we have a great place to live. We're working on bigger and better things. Alex and I are always pushing for something more. And it's not something more to put us into debt, but something more so we can build what we're worth. I have a great job. I have so much to be thankful for at this point that it's made me realize that everything that I went through in the past was there for a reason. And yes, it was hard, and no, I don't want to do it again, but if I had to do it all again to get where I'm at today, I would, 100%. If you guys have made it this far, I want to say thanks. Like I said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions for me, for Alex, or anything down below, just put it in the comments and I will try to answer them as they come. Maybe I'll do a question and answers video if there's too many. I'm trying to be more bold with my YouTube channel. So I'm going to try to share this a little more than I normally do with my other videos. But anyway, there's that. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks. Bye.